Okay, as we know, the purpose of a mastermind is to share kind of what we're experiencing and see if we can share some help and receive some help. And I want to help facilitate that. So tell me a little bit about why you decided to attend this morning. But I have a few things that I'd like to talk about, but of course I want to make sure that we get you guys first. What's on your mind?
I want to talk about hiring an ISA and
Okay.
how to go about that, what makes a good ISA, because that's leverage that I want to bring into my business this year.
Okay. That's actually kind of the direction I wanted to go this morning too. All right. Anyone else? Nope. Okay. Let's start off with this idea. First of all, on October the 16th, Gene Rivers is coming to the Georgia Legacy Group, and he is going to be teaching career visioning. Okay. Career visioning, for those that don't know, have you ever been to career visioning, Jan?
No, but I'm signed up this year.
Okay. Don't hire anyone until you go to that. Okay.
I'm not. I'm trying to put my business plan together for next year. So, you know, that's on my radar. So.
Gotcha. Perfect. So I got a few different directions I want to go with this question. So first of all, Gene Rivers is teaching not Quantum Leap, career visioning. That is from 9 o'clock to 4 o'clock. It's normally a few $100. It's free. Okay. Gene Rivers is probably my favorite KW instructor, and career visioning is easily my favorite curriculum of Keller Williams that I've seen pretty much all of them. This is a course on how to use the KPA, the Keller Personality Assessment, to overlay with all of the job descriptions so that you know that you're hiring a person with the appropriate background, motivation, personality profile, behavioral profile, etc. I'll give you an example. Let's say I'm going to hire Tawantis to be my buyer's agent. And I say, all right, your job today is to go show these 8 homes to this person and make small talk throughout the day. All right. And she's a social person and she, loves looking at homes. And so she says, this is awesome, right? What a great day of work, right? And right before she gets into that car, I say, I changed my mind. Your job today is actually to go sit behind the computer, and here's 10 files that I need you to make sure are organized and all the initials are checked and all the deadlines are accurate, and do a bunch of administrative work with respect to these files. And you probably would be like, I quit. I'm not interested in that job, right? That's not the job I want, right? That's exactly why you can't just hire your cousin who needs a job for the summer. Okay, because the more likely that person is to love job 1, most likely the less great they're going to be at job 2, not to mention the fact that they get no satisfaction from it. They don't enjoy it. Okay, so you got to understand that there's not necessarily a path from an assistant to a buyer's agent. It's 2 totally different behavioral profiles, right? The path would basically be from assistant to transaction manager to director of operations, right? And showing agent, or maybe an ISA to a showing agent, to a buyer's agent, to a lead buyer's agent, maybe then to a lead listing agent, right? So it's 2 totally separate paths. Okay. Now, Jan, can I be real direct with you?
Sure, Bill. What's going to change today?
Nothing's different. I mean, it's not going to be unusually direct. It's just going to be direct. That's the wrong order. That's the wrong order. So you basically are the ISA until, really the ISA is like level 4. So you really should have an assistant in place, a marketing person in place, and potentially at minimum a showing agent, probably a full buyer's agent before you have an ISA. because what the ISA is going to create is a bunch of leads for you and or appointments for you, and then you're going to get still bogged down in all the paperwork. So I do think that that's the wrong order to some degree. Now, let me tell you a little bit about what we're working on for PC. I know I've kind of sprinkled this in with a few of you guys. Andy and I were on the phone for about an hour yesterday just reviewing some of the math behind all this and some of the logistics. And it is subject to change, but what we're planning on doing this week, we're actually starting, Sam and myself and Andy, to run some specific seller-based and buyer-based campaign ads, Facebook campaign ads. And the goal is to create opportunities for those that are within the PC program. So we are toying, I mean, I think we pretty much made our decision, but there's basically two things you can pass on to an agent. You can either pass on a lead to an agent, or you can pass on an appointment to an agent, right? And an appointment clearly is more valuable. Now, the way you get from a lead to an appointment is a bunch of courtship.
That's what I'm interested in. And that's why I'm asking about an ISA, because I can run all the leads I want and do all the follow-up and do all the boring, horrible stuff that I don't like to do. Or I can go on an appointment and close the deal. And that's what I'm good at. And so I'm working on how to leverage, because I hate sitting at home. I have a dialer that I never use. I have a triple line dialer. And
hey, today's the day, Jan. Bold 100, baby.
I know. And
if you're not going to use it today, I'll give it to Darlene.
Who's Darlene?
Darlene is on the call. Introduce yourself.
Hey, Darlene, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great.
Okay. If you quit letting it sit and collecting dust. If you could sell that dialer for $5 a day.
That's what I'm saying, Bill, is I do let it collect dust, because although I can do it and I can make it happen with the dialer, it breaks my soul to have to sit there and run a dialer. So I would rather have an ISA who sits there and it doesn't bother them. Run a dialer.
Well, it's not that it doesn't bother them. They actually love it.
Well, and I want to find that person that loves it, because they're good at that. They don't want to be in front of a person. I want to talk to a real person. And
you're 100% right. So that is exactly what we're creating. So the idea here is that we would create the ad, and the person would probably also be doing FSBO for sale by owner, withdrawals, Zillow calls. I mean, their job is to find opportunities and nurture those opportunities into appointments, at which point we will pass them along to an agent that is within the productivity program. Now, there would be a fee, of course, but the fee would be essentially what we're trying to do is make the fee significantly better than what the fee would be if you were on a team, and what the fee would be if you were to do like reload business or something, right? So that way you're essentially outsourcing, if you will, the ad making, all of the courtship of taking that basically nothing to an ad, to a lead, to a real appointment that, Jan, for example, you could go on and just get paperwork signed because that's what you enjoy doing and that's what you're good at, right? And we're trying to do that at scale. Roswell is going to be the lab, if you will, for this product. We're also in the process, although this is probably a little further down the road, of creating what will probably be GLG leverage. So just like we have a productivity department and we have a technology department, we're probably also going to have a leverage department. And that is going to be essentially just a series of easy buttons that you could push that is a little bit more visual and capable of doing a lot of work for a lot of people at once. So for example, it'd be like, hey, you want your listing put in the system, press here, that'll be X number of dollars, right? You want contract to close, press here, that'll be X number of dollars. You're free to choose to do it if you want. But for somebody who is reluctant, let's say somebody's making 80 grand, 90 grand, 100 grand. Okay, you're starting to feel a little bit of pressure. I'm just speaking for myself. You're starting to feel a little bit of pressure in terms of like, okay, well, I'm spending less dinners with my family and I'm working more weekends than I'd ideally like to work. Yet you obviously don't have 50 grand or 40 grand to pay an assistant. So there's usually a stopgap in between, which is either piecemeal admin work, right, where you're paying like a contract to close person or something like that, or somebody to handle some of the listing input or listings management, that kind of thing, or you hire a virtual assistant, right? So this is one of those. This would be one of those options. So we understand that, you know, there are at least probably 20 jobs. I think I've drawn out the thing for you guys in the past where it's like, let's say we got let's say there's 3 departments of real estate. Okay, the first department is the lead generation department. That's the outside sales agent, the inside sales agent, right, and like the leads manager. Then you have the operations. That's like the bookkeeper, the contract to close, the marketing person, the runner, the person who puts the signs in the ground, like the person who deals with all the calendaring and admin, all that, right? And then you have the sales, which is buyer's agent, showing agent, listing agent, right? Well, today you got, and by the way, don't forget you're also the CEO of the place, right? So what I just described were all the kind of the worker bee type job descriptions. And then the queen bee is up at the top, who owns the whole enterprise and manages and sets the vision for everyone. Unfortunately, or it's not unfortunately, it just is what it is. You got all those jobs right now, all of them, right? And so, in half of those jobs, at least half of those jobs, you got no interest in, right? Well, the issue is you got to figure out who's going to do them.
Well, I have a question for you, Bill, because we've had this conversation. And when you and Andy are talking about this, you know, it's like if I hire you and I hire a sign person and I hire an executive assistant and I hire somebody to do my ads and, you know, I hire a contract to close person, you know, it all starts adding up to the point that I don't make any money. And I have to make money as well. And
no,
you know,
I would disagree with that. I would disagree with that. The only way every hire you make incrementally should free you up to go get more listings. So you're not going to hire all those people at once because you're a solo agent right now with a little bit of help, but you're not going to jump to 7th level. You're going to go to like 1.5 level and then 1 3/4 level. Like it's an incremental thing. And you have to, and please don't take this the wrong way, but you have to earn the right to pass off that job. And you earn the right by generating so much capital, money, income, and so much opportunity that you just physically can't do it anymore, right? I mean, we have, you know, Joanne and Tom, for example. Tom's running the show behind the scenes. Joanne's going on all the listing appointments, right? So she's making a ton of calls. So there are still jobs that she hasn't passed off. Yeah, I would never suggest hiring somebody and then passing off your profits. That wouldn't make any sense. But that's what you have to keep that job until it's financially savvy to let somebody else have it. Right? You just can't give away all the jobs and own the place. I mean, you have to have enough revenue to support all that. Right? Now, I found personally that at about 125,000 or so in income in GCI, I mean, at that time, I quite frankly, I didn't really need that much money, if you will, right? And so like I was a little bit more willing to part with profits so that I could buy some of my time back, right? And that's why I went into the room and said, all right, Pam, here's what I'm looking for. Here's how I would like to compensate you. Do you feel like we have a good partnership here? And she hasn't complained in 8 years, so I'm guessing everything is okay, right? So I'm willing to be generous because I like my time. Does that make sense? And it'll only make sense for both of us if we continue to create a structure where we both win, right? So I say all that to say, my recommendation, Jan, would be to lean on a program like this so that you can go create enough opportunity where you've got a stash of money that you can say, okay, I'm tired of listings management. This is your job now, right? I'm tired of making flyers. That is your job now. You see what I'm saying? And just instead of handing off, the 80 responsibilities of an assistant in the snap of a finger, you say, hey, I think I've got enough capital here to hand off 18 of those jobs. Turns out I got another couple closings as a result of that freed up time. Now you get 45 of the jobs, right? And eventually you say, never touching that again. See what I'm saying?
Yes.
Does that make sense to anyone else, or do you have any questions on that? Those kind of ideas? Okay, so basically what we're trying to do here is create a win-win for everybody, right? We want to, quite frankly, attract more people like yourself to the program, right? Those that, maybe are, I'll give you an example. Let's say somebody who's making $75,000. Okay, now please don't hear this the wrong way, but I'm going to make a generalization about somebody who's making $75,000 in this business. Okay, they are fully capable of selling more homes than what fell into their lap when they told the world they were a real estate agent, right? So you become a real estate agent, you put it on Facebook, you get a deal or two, and if you're not capable of generating business or learning the market and all that stuff, then those are the only 2 deals you get, and then you go try being a lender or something, right? So those that are making 75 grand are fully capable of doing more than that. Yet, why aren't they making more than 75 grand? I know there's people that, have other obligations and all that. I'm just speaking in general terms. Generally speaking, they have one big issue, and that is they flat out do not have enough leads. They just don't have enough leads. If they had more leads, they'd have more deals, right? And the other thing is their business is probably too focused on the buyer side. And they're running themselves ragged with 2 or 3 deals a month, showing everyone else's listings instead of having dinner with their family, having showing time, book appointments for their listings, and then receiving multiple offers and just sending out an email, multiple offers, give me your highest and best, this is easy. You see what I'm saying? So I used to say that, and I still do say, if you are 0 to 2 million in volume, you got one problem. You don't have enough leads. Simple. I hope it doesn't hurt your feelings, but you ain't got enough leads. Okay. If you're 2 to 5 million in sales, your biggest problem is you're not listings based. That's your biggest problem. And you probably don't have enough leads also, right? But you're running ragged on the buyers and you just flat out don't have enough listings. If I got 5 listings, I can go to the beach for a week and all 5 homes could be under contract by the time I get back. If I got 5 buyers, if I go to the beach for a week, ain't nothing happening. Except for, most likely, all 5 will see a home they want to see, won't be able to buy it because you are either too stingy or not paying attention to share the wealth with somebody who could help you with the showings, and they're going to be pissed off that they couldn't buy that home. And when you get back into town, all 5 buyers will still be active. You won't have a single under contract. Y'all hear that? Am I pissing anyone off, or am I saying what's been going on in your head for years?
It's happening now.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And so if you're at that 75,000, 80,000, 90,000 mark, you primarily just need to kind of shuffle how you spend your day and the people that you go after. And more than likely, you just need a little bit more regimen to your lead gen so you can go get more leads. And then you'll earn enough money to let somebody else do some of these jobs, right? And if you don't allow somebody to do the job, it'll always be yours. right? So somebody says, well, only I can supervise the due diligence period accounts and stuff. With that attitude, you're 100% right. It will be your job until you can figure out what's going on in your head to allow somebody to pass it off to somebody that is most likely more talented than you at that particular task.
Mhm.
Make sense?
It does.
So okay, so we say to ourselves, we're in this growth room. Okay, so what do we want to do? We want to grow, right? We want to, I mean, you know, Andy was taking, back when he was in the sales role, he was taking 100 listings a year,
Mhm.
right? Now he wasn't doing the admin for all of those because he had somebody that was super talented doing the admin for all those. Does that make sense? And then once he found somebody that could handle the listing consults, passed off the listing consults. And now his job is to go make sure that all the talented individuals in his world have their next opportunity within his world. You follow what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I do.
So what we're trying to do is, I mean, very candidly, is Keller Williams is trying to become the company. We've been, in my opinion, the company for the interdependent agent. Okay. In my opinion, we have not really been the company for the dependent agent. The one who says, I'm not willing to lead gen and I'm willing to pay somebody else for the lead.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm not saying that that's the right move or the wrong move. I am saying, though, every lead that has ever been procured in the history of real estate costs time and money. And if it's not your time, then it's going to be your money. Right? If you're not going to be the one to go hammer it out through the phone or referrals or networking or whatever, you're going to say, well, damn, I haven't gone to create a lead, so I guess I got to buy one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, am I talking crazy here?
No. Mm-mm.
So at the end of the day, you have to decide, what's the mix going to be? Am I going to receive leads or am I going to go generate leads? Right? And I'm not speaking negatively about receiving leads. We receive leads in the form of referrals all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anyone that would not take a referral and pay 25%? Of course not. So there's no difference, right? So somebody moves from San Diego to Roswell and the agent from San Diego calls you and says, hey, you want to pay me 25% on this buyer? And you're like, yeah, of course. What's the difference, right? Somebody else created the lead and therefore you're using your money, because you didn't use your time, to receive the lead, to accept the lead, right? So if you were in that business, Keller Williams really wasn't the place for you, right? Because you would come in and you say, where are my leads? I'm willing to buy the leads, or I'm willing to pay you a higher split on the leads. And we'd say, here's a book of scripts. You go find the leads. What are you talking about? Right? Well, what we're realizing is there's still a lot of people that aren't interested in doing that are great agents, that are willing to pay for the leads. So if we can create an easy button to create a win-win for that type of agent, then why can't we do that? Right? So then we just essentially we take the dependent companies, the Metro Brokers, the Coldwell Bankers, the Century 21s, these type of companies, and we provide better technology, better training, and a system where they can get the lead in the same way they want to get it. Right?
So
then you take go ahead.
When are you guys going to start this?
We are, Sam and I and Andy are really rolling out a pilot for this week, where we're going to see what kind of leads and how many leads and how many appointments essentially we can create based on some ad spend, so that we can make sure that our numbers that we think are accurate are actually accurate before we make a pitch to you guys, and then make sure it's the money works. Right? Because the office would be taking on a financial burden with an ISA salary and these kind of things. I mean, I talked to Andy about this yesterday. I mean, ISA is probably minimum wants 40 grand a year in salary. Minimum. Probably needs to be higher, actually. And then a bonus on the transactions. right? A percentage bonus on the transactions. Plus, we have to pay for the leads, or not the leads, but the ad spend, right? And any data that we have to buy. And, you know, like all the leaders in Andy's organization would have coaching, right? So we got to pay for a coach, right? So there's a lot of exposure on the market center before we start handing these leads off in hopes that we'll go to recollect. So, you know, it's just another kind of business entity. So we're taking it seriously, and we're labbing it to make sure that that everyone ultimately can be a winner. But this idea that there was a time where the dependent model was the no-brainer in real estate. And that's when your Harry Normans, your Century 21s, your Coldwell Bankers, that's when they were king. By the way, this is pre-internet, okay? Then there was a time where the independent company was the winner. That was like Remax's heyday from probably like 1990 to, or really like maybe 86, 87 to like 2005, right? And then Keller Williams really took hold, and they said, well, people want to have a relationship with their owner, right? They want to have an interdependent relationship. They want to learn how to build a business. And then Keller Williams took over. However, to play the infinite game like Gary talks a lot about, we actually have to be the destination for all types of agents. The agent that says, hey, I'm not going to take advantage of any of these tools, just make the price fair for me to be here. And the agent that says, I want leads. And the agent that says, I want to come to class, I want to be very engaged, I enjoy the culture and the leadership opportunities and all that kind of stuff. So at the end of the day, just let me wrap this up real fast, and then we'll move right into our bold thing. I want to make sure, number one, that you were enrolled. You just have to RSVP to, where is I'll post it a little bit later in the group, but the sheet is, it's all over the newsletter. Okay, so enroll in, RSVP to Gene Rivers' class, Career Visioning, October 16th from 9 to 4. Okay, it's completely free. It's on Zoom. It literally is the best of the best. In preparation for that, if you do not have a KPA, I would recommend reaching out to Lucy and asking her to create to run the KPA for you. There is a small fee. I think it's $20. And it is basically a snapshot into your behavioral profile. Okay, and based on that, it is going to teach you how to improve your weaknesses and how to improve your strengths and how to have awareness around those topics. Okay, so sorry guys, you kind of hopped in at the end of the Growth Mastermind. We were talking about career visioning. So just a reminder, October 16th from 9 to 4, it's a free event with Gene Rivers. Career Visioning is the course on hiring. There is some pretty unbelievable curriculum within the course that doesn't have much to do about hiring at all. It has to do with systems and structure and priority and stuff like that. So I highly, highly recommend that you attend that. Sound good? All right, let me stop the recorder